Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
I wanted to go to the first deal that was made on the weekend, and this involved the Seattle Thunderbirds. So, Clark, if you can bring that up, this is the deal that saw Colton Dach leave the Kelowna Rockets, and he wound up going to the T-Birds, and there you see the return. Now, that's a lot for a player that's coming off a World Junior experience where he's hurt. He is a high NHL prospect of the Blackhawks, but a player that's played limited games this year due to multiple injuries and won't be joining an already stacked team for at least another month. Pretty good deal, though, when you're talking about a Seattle club that has totally gone all in, and I think rightly so. We're a league title winner a couple of years ago, a league finalist last year. They've sold a lot of their future, but they've got a great culture in place down in Kent, Washington, and they've got a good fan base and they've got a good team. Doesn't come as a surprise that T-Birds pulled the trigger there. Now, the deal that most around the league and around the country, I think, are talking about is the one that involved the upcoming Memorial Cup hosts, and that's the Kamloops Blazers, who made their big whopper of a deal with the Everett Silvertips, going after a player that I'm sure they identified even last summer to try to get onto their blue line, and that's Olin Zellweger, who was such a standout performer for Canada on the World Junior stage, helping them to back-to-back gold medal performances this month. The price to get a player like Zellweger is quite high, and that's something we haven't seen in the WHL in maybe ever.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
By the way, who didn't see the firing of Cliff Kingsbury coming? That's all that I'll say. They've made Kyler Murray top 5 highest paid quarterbacks in the league. He didn't do spit this year. They didn't have their top guns. DeAndre Hopkins for the first 6 games of the year. J.J. Watt for a lot of it. The general manager, Steve Keim, took a leave of absence. But 2 have fallen now. Lovie Smith and Cliff Kingsbury since the NFL season ended.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. Let's make sure you're awake in there. It's your favorite daytime sports talk show. And I'm the host, RP. I'm going to come at you here on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and WQEE Radio with 2 disclaimers. And the first is that we're going to have a heck of a lot of fun. So prepare yourself today for an amazing show that's going to be a lot of fun. And as we bring in the co-host, Darren Moose DuPont from the NHL's Bermuda Triangle, the second disclaimer, Moose, is that I don't have COVID, but I do have brain fog. And I don't know what it is. And you're telling me that you've suffered from something similar here coming out of the Christmas holidays, just that sort of, where did I leave my glasses? You know, oh, they're on your head.
Yes.
That kind of thing. That's happening. And I don't know why. I don't have COVID. I've already had it twice, if you can believe. So if I flub up my words, you understand why. And the guests today are going to be fantastic. The commissioner of the Canadian Football League, Randy Ambrosie, is going to be joining us live from CFL Winter Meetings in Kananaskis, Alberta. And the head coach of the Montreal Alouettes, Jason Maas, is going to join us from the very same place. I believe it was winter of 2018 that I covered these live. It was in Banff, and it was so much fun. Well, we're not there this time around, but the CFL is bringing the interviews to us, and I love it. So thank them for that. And Lucas Barrett. And before we jump into the topics of what we're going to get to today, what's on your mind, pal? What's been going on this morning?
You know what? It's been good. And actually, it's been the winter meetings, you know, and getting excited for little things like this about an upcoming CFL season. You know, honestly, since the Grey Cup, largely haven't spent a lot of time thinking about the Canadian Football League. You know, but this morning, as we're in our morning meetings and graphics are coming in for the show and, you know, chatting with our team, I'm getting excited. I'm getting excited about when you got winter meetings and you got the free agency coming and things like that. And I think we need more of this.
Yeah, well, we got a lot of new things that we're talking about daily on this show, but is going to drop some names here. Randy Chevrier, former Dallas Cowboys, Jacksonville Jaguars, and Stampeders long snapper, said to me recently through DM on Instagram, he's like, the CFL will never leave you. It's in your DNA. And I said, I hope it doesn't. because we love the CFL, so there's going to be some great interviews with it. And that's going to be our poll question, which I'll get to in a moment. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please, Director Jordan? We're not the college football show. Heavens knows there's enough of those. But my first point is this. Stetson Bennett threw 2 touchdown passes, ran for 2 more. In the first half alone, as number 1 Georgia demolished TCU 65-7 to become the first team to win consecutive college football national championships. The Bulldogs became the first repeat champs since Alabama went back-to-back a decade ago in the Bowl Championship Series, the famed BCS. I don't even want to talk about the game. It was over at the coin toss, and I lost my bet because you and I both thought TCU would at least beat this spread, and it wasn't even close. So I'm going to move on. I hope people enjoyed it for what it was. I shut it off at halftime and didn't miss anything. Point 2, NHL. Kevin Fiala scored twice and added 2 helpers, and the LA Kings scored 4 power play goals en route to a 6-3 NHL victory over the Edmonton Oilers Monday night. Adrian Kempe also scored twice, and Alex Iafallo and Victor Arvidsson added singles for the Kings, who won their 2nd consecutive game. For the Oil, Connor McDavid, Kailer Yamamoto, and Ryan McLeod scored for the Oil, who have now lost 2 in a row. And you saw Stuart Skinner got pulled in the game last night for Jack Campbell. Have you seen any reaction from Oiler fans? I would suggest they're pretty quiet after last night's loss. The fact that they're quiet is actually a good thing. It makes me realize that they realize they're not going to win every game. They're not going to dominate every game. That's a team they're trailing in the standings. Concerned, I'm sure, but the Flames yanked their goalie just the night before. These things happen, Darren. That's how I analyze the Oiler game. How about you?
Yeah, they happen, for sure. But, you know, a sense I get from Oiler fans, too, is there's some nervousness there, Rod. They're not sure or that confident necessarily yet that this is a playoff team. And when we talked about it, you know, not that long ago, when we were talking about are the Oilers and Flames both going to get into the playoffs? Well, I said I didn't see a playoffs with Calgary with Colorado not jumping up into the playoff mix, which means one of those teams would have to fall out. So nothing's guaranteed, and I think Oiler fans are a little uneasy right now as we head kind of towards the stretch.
Yeah. I get how the fan bases are getting caught up in the trappings of the night-to-night results of their team, and I get it. You should. I'm just not getting wrapped up in it. Sometimes that happens. I got to tell the viewers, it's only been 914 shows, but in case you forgot, the opening segment and the warm-up is me and Moose's time. We come up with the topics. Later on, Viewer Takeover, that's when we answer your questions and the things you'd like us to talk about, please and thank you. Here's another one. Philadelphia Flyers blanked the Buffalo Sabres 4-0 in the Marina last night, or whatever they're calling it now in Buffalo. And I see some pundit on Twitter saying, this is the worst I've seen the Sabres play all year. Some Buffalo reporter. And I'm like, newsflash? It doesn't need to be a contest to see how much you can crap all over the home team to win yourself points on Twitter. Doesn't mean you're a better analyst to be a negative Nelson, as John Lynch would say. You know what I mean? Lift people up. Anyways, the Flyers won 4-0 at Buffalo. Nashville blanked Ottawa 3-0. The Sens continue to be who we thought they were. And Seattle blanked Montreal 4-0 in the Bell Center last night, and the Habs fans booed their team off the ice after one. I saw a clip on Instagram of Craig Button saying that Juraj Slafkovsky should not be in the NHL right now. He's only 18, of course. So tough times in Montreal. We're at the halfway mark of the NHL regular season now, right? Right around there for everybody. All-Star break almost, and we're starting to find out who's who. Montreal ain't with it. But what did you expect they were going to be? Point 3, I see some people commenting in about the NFL playoff games. 7 of the 14 teams in this year's playoffs didn't make the field last season, giving the NFL's upcoming wildcard weekend a mix of traditional powerhouses and underdogs. I know we have the odds here. If Clark's got them ready, we'll get to those in a second. I'll ask Darren to explain those. Tom Brady begins his quest for an unprecedented 8th Super Bowl title when his Tampa Bay Buccaneers host the Dallas Cowboys on Monday night. Meanwhile, Jacksonville second-year standout Trevor Lawrence and Seattle veteran Geno Smith will be among at least 5 quarterbacks making their playoff debuts. Now, you tell me, Clark, if you got these, do you have them ready before we move on to CFL stuff? The wild card first for this weekend's games. Darren, you take it away. Put it over my face if you don't mind. I know I should have prepared you for this, but Darren, you take it away. This is from our exclusive betting partner, Bet Regal.
There we go. Now we can take a peek at some of these games. So you've got the 49ers heavy favorites over Seattle, as they should be. The 49ers are probably the best team right now in the NFC heading into the playoffs. So 49ers big favorites over the Seattle Seahawks. Tight one between the Jags and Chargers. Chargers really getting back to the playoffs, I believe, first time in the Justin Herbert era. So the Jags are slight favorites, actually, at minus 103. Bills, big favorites over the Dolphins. That's the biggest differential in the odds on Bet Regal right now for the wild card series. The Vikings favored over the Giants. A close one there. Cowboys favored over the Bucks, Rod. Favorites over Tom and the Bucks. That one I'm not so sure about. I think, I might put the Bucks ahead. I would give them the edge. So a great bet there. And Bengals heavy favorites over the Ravens. So the super wild card weekend is probably one of the best weekends of the NFL season.
It is, as far as the most games, the most action, the most nights of live football. And again, all those odds are courtesy our exclusive betting partner in Sportsbook, Bet Regal. You can download the app, as I have. I'm looking at it right now. All the odds are right there, and you can create your free account. Play for free. It's free to join. Do us a favor and sign up. We don't ask much from people, do we? But we've got all week here to talk about these games, and I love the setup of it, too. Moving on to the Canadian Football League. We promised our viewers it would be a big CFL day today. And the one thing that I love, contrast. What I hate is when sports and news intersect, and usually that's when tragedy's involved or somebody's in trouble. I don't like that. What I like is when the CFL and NFL merge into one story, because it pleases fans of both leagues. So you could add the Kansas City Chiefs to the growing list of NFL teams to take a look at CFL star quarterback Nathan Rourke. The Chiefs confirmed they hosted the 24-year-old Victoria product for a workout on Monday. The 6'2", 209-pound Rourke still has a year left on his deal with the Lions. However, on Monday, he became eligible to sign an NFL futures deal as per the CFL's NFL window. The Chiefs are the 10th NFL team now Rourke has worked out for this season. Visited with the Bengals Friday. He's had sessions with the Chargers, Raiders, Jags, Vikings, Broncos, Colts, Bucks, and Cardinals. Superstar Patrick Mahomes is firmly entrenched as Kansas City starter, but veteran backup Chad Henne's contract is set to expire at season's end. So a couple things on Nathan Rourke working out for the Kansas City Chiefs. Number one, he's going to sign, obviously. My guess, again, I said Raiders. You said Colts?
No, I said somebody like the Vikings. Yeah.
Vikings, okay. Overall, it's our poll question today, and I'll probably put this to Commissioner Randy Ambrosie when he joins us later on. Is this a good thing or a bad thing for the CFL when Nathan Rourke eventually signs in the NFL? It's for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center, with dealerships all across the Canadian prairies and the state of California. I voted a good thing for the CFL, and you can't move me off that. It's a great thing for the CFL. The BC Lions have proven, A, they can turn a franchise around. B, they can identify players because they did with Nathan Rourke. 3, they'll find the next Nathan Rourke. Root for others, folks, until it's your turn. But don't be selfish. And I think anybody that thinks this is bad for the CFL, that Nathan Rourke will leave, is just simply being selfish. That's me. Don't at me. I can handle it if you don't agree. But the results on Twitter were right down the middle, 50-50. I get that. On YouTube, it was over 80% saying it's a good thing for Nathan Rourke to sign in the NFL. So before we examine this a little more, how are you answering the poll question for Capital Auto Mall and Universal Collision Center, Moose?
There's only two answers, so I'm going to say yes. It's a good thing for the Canadian Football League because ultimately it is. You want your players to come here excited and know that there's opportunities to grow. And, the NFL we know is the Mecca. Now, it is tough for the CFL because losing stars is tough. In a league, that's gate-driven and needs to get, embrace a fan base, we need as many stars as possible. So while that will be tough, it's a good thing ultimately because that's going to tell other future young quarterbacks and star players that this is a league where I can get a great start, have success, and then transfer to the National Football League. So, yeah, I'm voting yes. It's a great thing, and it's going to be good for the future of the game.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, by the way. Nathan Rourke was by far and away the top story in the CFL. We've ran the polls stating as such from our viewers and CFL fans, but you're just going to have to work to build the next star and hope for the best for Nathan Rourke. Now, there's a few things on this. Carlos is watching in Indianapolis, and he says Nathan Rourke would be a backup in Kansas City. Is he content being a backup when he can start in the CFL? Well, ain't that the age-old dilemma? This ain't new. History repeats itself, and do we need to go back to the Ricky Rays of the world and the Dave Dickinsons of the world, the guys that went to the NFL? We called them clipboard holders. That's really all they are. They were waiting for their shot that they never got. But those are both Americans. Nathan Rourke is a Canadian. Not that that necessarily really matters. But I really think in Bismarck, North Dakota, where my good friend Weston Dressler lives, UND star, he was a star in the CFL for 12 seasons, a Hall of Famer, but what he's recognized for in Bismarck, North Dakota is that he had a cup of coffee with the Chiefs and played in a couple preseason games and got a tracksuit out of the deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nathan Rourke, I can't think, has an expectation of being the next Tom Brady. If he's signing a deal that comes with the expectation that he will back up. Look at Bo Levi Mitchell, who made that exact decision. He wanted a chance to start in Minnesota, and the Vikings said, here's a contract offer, but you're never going to supplant Kirk Cousins as our starting quarterback. Bo said, thanks, but no thanks, I'm going back to Calgary. That's his decision. Will he regret it? I don't know. I don't know the guy. And I honestly can't say whether he would regret that or not. Everybody's different, but Nathan Rourke, when he signs this, all he wants is the chance to compete, to be number one, which Bo didn't get. And the and to wait for his chance, which may never come. That's my read on that. And I have more thoughts, but what would be his expectation, do you think, if and when he signs a contract?
Yeah, I don't think the expectation is to go in and be a starter in the National Football League, which is why I'm not necessarily looking at teams that have a quarterback need today as necessarily the best spot. If I've got a quarterback need in the National Football League, I'm looking at how do I move up in the draft to take a Bryce Young or a CJ Stroud or find somebody else. I think the best fit for somebody like Nathan is to go somewhere, be a backup, build the trust in the organization, learn the game, learn the personnel, all that stuff that he's, done a little bit in college, and then be there when the spot opens up. So that's why I say, Minnesota with Kirk Cousins being entrenched as the starter, but he's getting older. So you go down there, be a backup for 2, 3, 4 seasons, and bang, you're ready when your number's called. And I think that would be a great situation and something Nathan is probably looking at.
Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in, obviously watching in Calgary, says, of course it's bad. Losing good players is never good. How can it be? Doesn't surprise me that he would say that. Ted, watching in Phoenix, great for Nathan and great for the CFL. I knew this would be a hot button topic. I can sniff out hot button topics like a fart in the car. And we'll continue that when we come back. We'll look at tonight's NHL games, WHL trade deadline, Raptors. We'll be right back. We're on Game Plus TV, YouTube Live, and the radio, WQEE.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Take Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902 518 3033.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of fun. Big time, big time, big time. Big time.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right. Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Casino fancy.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. Take advantage of up to $7,000 in discounts on all remaining new 2022 F-150s. And rates are as low as 1.49% OAC. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Picking right back up where we left off. As a matter of fact, going to keep on trucking ahead, and we'll come back on this Nathan Rourke thing because I knew that people were really going to want to talk about the BC Lions quarterback. Now, thanks to Nelson Hakowicz, our VP of Sim Events, writing in and informing us he's worked out with the New York, or is working out with the New York Giants today. That'll be his 11th team for Nathan Rourke. Let's bring in the Moose, Darren Moose DuPont. And I'll continue the quick six, Moose, and then come back on the Rourke stuff because that's the hot button topic today.
Yeah.
There are 10 games on the NHL schedule tonight with 3 Canadian teams playing on the road. The Penguins will be aiming to win their second in a row when they host the Vancouver Canucks. The Detroit Red Wings, losers of 3 in a row, host the Winnipeg Jets, who have won 5 straight. And the Calgary Flames visit the St. Louis Blues. We got Ryan from Saratoga, New York, who's all hopped up on his Devils playing at Carolina tonight. I would say, dare I say, that's the game of the night, Devils and Hurricanes. I think so. Florida Panthers are at Colorado, so it's a big night tonight. And the last point 6, the Toronto Raptors will play the first of 2 home games against the Charlotte Hornets tonight, with the second game coming on Thursday. The Raps are 11th in the NBA's Eastern Conference. The Hornets second last in the East. Why can't the Hornets figure it out? They're 11-30, but we're not an NBA show. In case you didn't know, we're not an NBA show. So
I was hoping you weren't looking
Shane
for
Wright,
analysis on that.
No, can you get Michael Jordan on, Clark? Can we make that happen?
Let's go.
Let's get him. MJ. We have a better chance of getting Michael Jackson on the air than Michael Jordan, I would think. And Shane Wright traded in the O last night. It's WHL trade deadline today. So, yeah, there's a lot of football fans, however, that have come here today to see the CFL Commissioner, Randy Ambrosie. He'll be with us next segment from CFL Winter Meetings. And I could tell you a million stories from the last time I was at CFL Winter Meetings. I was there. It was so much fun. I'd love to be at Kananaskis for the meetings. However, South Florida's winning out today. But back to Nathan Rourke. I think I saw around 60% of respondents now on Twitter are saying it's a good thing for the CFL if Nathan Rourke signs in the NFL. And I don't want to put Randy Ambrosie on the spot. I talked to the league's PR guy last night, and I said, what are some of the things Randy wants to talk about? And I'm going to get to those with the commish. But I'm sure he's thought about this. Is it good or bad? And overall, it's good. The reason this is good, number one, you want the best for people. You should. Because if you want the best for others, eventually you're going to get the best. But if you want bad on others, guess what you're going to get? That's right, a lump of coal in your life, number one. Number two, it shows players that the CFL is a very viable portal to the National Football League. It always has been. But that's what it is. I think some of the people that argue it say, we're not a developmental league for the NFL. But you are. So if you don't believe that, we can't talk. And an interesting point, some guy wrote me into the website, Darren, at rodpedersen.com. His name's Tom. He's a big-time CFL fan. And he said, why does he need to be on this incessant tour of teams? Now, what, 11 teams for Nathan Rourke? He goes, there's miles and miles and miles of footage on him. Why does he need to make this tour? And you know what? He makes a really good point. But as a son of a scout that I am, and seeing how the personnel people think, they want to see him for themselves. And through COVID, they didn't have that opportunity. They were drafting based on not having the chance to interview players face-to-face or have them work out face-to-face. I don't think it's unreasonable that the teams want to see the kid themselves rather than go by what they see on film. What do you think about that?
Yeah, they want to see them themselves, but also to have those conversations, too, and be able to sit down with them face-to-face and just understand, how does he conduct himself? What's his body language like? How does he communicate? You know, when you're looking through a playbook with him, how does he read it? Does he understand the lingo? Does he get along with your offensive coordinator, your quarterback's coach? All those little intangibles that you don't get off of film, you don't really get off a Zoom call or a phone call, things that can only be done in person. So I think it's important. And for Nathan to get out there and actually throw footballs and get on the field, I think is big too.
A very good point by Nelson, our VP of Sim Events. He said it's like buying a house. Video and pictures only tell you so much. That's a really good analogy right there.
Only show you highlights too, right?
Oh, you can't. Yeah, I mean, guys send out their highlight film. No, it's like anything. It's like the radio business. Sure, you send out a 5-minute highlight demo. What about the other 55 minutes in the hour? That's not a true representation of what you are. Now, going back to just my dad, who you don't survive in the National Hockey League for 26 years unless you're really good at what you do, thorough, and you have results. But Dad, he wanted to see the size of the guy. He wanted to see the hair on his knuckles. He wanted to meet the parents and see how big they were. He wanted to talk to the players' teachers and the bus driver and the trainers. Do you know what I, like? That's how you find out what you're getting. So to just go off film, the more I think about it, it just is so stupid. The comment from the, I'm sorry, from the fan to say, why can't they just go off the film? That's the other thing. Anybody can scout if you just go off film. Anybody can see who the best player is. That's the other part of it. What do you need scouts for? Just send let's just sign all the best players. Steve Menard, who is a new viewer, but I like the cut of his jib. I'm sorry, he's got a million questions here. He says the Titans need a quarterback, but you didn't even think your Titans would sign him. Do you think there's he hasn't even worked?
No.
Has he worked out for Tennessee? He didn't make the list, did he?
Well, I don't know if he has or not. I haven't checked to see if Tennessee was on there. But again, I think, places that need a starting quarterback aren't necessarily thinking of Nathan Rourke as their starting quarterback. He's somebody who can come in. It's going to be a bit of a project with him. It's not a plug and play situation. I look at Nathan and I think of Jordan Love. He's in Green Bay, highly touted prospect, and they're there buying his time for when Aaron Rodgers decides to leave. It might be as early as next season. I think of Joshua Dobbs with the Titans, 6-year pro, started his first 2 games these last 2 weeks with Tennessee. But a guy who was in the systems, learned, was behind good quarterbacks, learned all about the NFL, and then when his time came, he was ready. Like, he actually looked pretty good these last 2 weeks for Tennessee, and now teams are starting to think he could be a great backup. He could potentially be somebody who could play in an emergency situation. I think that's a great situation for Nathan. Don't rush this. Just get into the NFL and absorb and be ready 3 years down the road when your number gets called.
Like I said, Nathan Rourke is the perfect topic because it's interesting to viewers in both countries, in both leagues, right? And it brings about the polarizing opposites of opinions. From Hughes Sports Podcast, writes in and says, Nathan Rourke going to the NFL is an amazing thing. A Canadian coming in to back up or potentially fighting for a starting job would be top-notch for the CFL. That's what I am saying. Now, Jeff, the Stamps fan here, says, Rod, you have a great show, which I love and I respect you, but let's face it, you aren't a real CFL fan anymore, only to the point you can get ratings. As such, you offer only a biased opinion on Rourke. See, he couldn't be more wrong. I watch every game. We've got the commissioner coming on today, plus the head coach of the Montreal Alouettes. No media outlet in Canada talks more about the CFL than us. And here's a daily viewer sitting here saying, I'm not a fan anymore. He has made his mind up that I can't change. And he will not look at the fact that a player coming in and going to the National Football League is nothing but great for the Canadian Football League. It's a selfish way to look at it to say it's bad to lose your stars. And that's from a business standpoint, Darren. Would you not say, we'll just go find the next stars? And good luck, Nathan.
Yeah.
I think that's the way you should look at it.
Yeah, I think so. And you think about other situations that haven't worked out. Johnny Manziel, right? He did not use the CFL as a way to get back to the NFL. Didn't work. The more Johnny Manziels we have,
he wanted to.
But the more guys that come to the CFL to go to the NFL and it doesn't work out, it tells people maybe that's not the way back, right? So more good stories like Nathan Rourke where you can go to the NFL, sign, and have success, that's going to tell quarterbacks coming out of college, the ones that end up on practice rosters or get cut or don't quite make it, and they're good, that'll tell them, I could go to the Canadian Football League, have success, and go to the NFL. So I think the more Nathan Rourkes we have, the better.
Nelson Hakowich, our VP of Sim Events, writes in and says, it's not just great for the CFL, it's great for Canadian football. Nathan Rourke making the NFL triggers a generation of kids wanting to grow up and succeed at the quarterback position. Ali in Texarkana, Texas says it sounds like a win-win to me, and I'm not a huge football fan. What? Right? Anyways, Moose, I'm going to let you run and come back in hour 2. Gosh knows what'll be up by then, huh?
I know. We'll see you then.
Okay, a sports update before we bring in the commissioner of the Canadian Football League, Randy Ambrosie. The Western Hockey League announced that Moose Jaw Warriors forward Atlee Calvert has been named WHL Player of the Week. He led all WHL skaters with 8 points, helping his hometown Warriors earn 5 of a possible 6 points. Meanwhile, PA Raiders goalie Max Hildebrand has been named WHL Goalie of the Week. He was 2-0 with a 1.58 GAA and a sparkling .943 save percentage. The Toronto Raptors play the first of 2 home games against the Charlotte Hornets tonight, with a second game coming on Thursday. And back to CHL, Shane Wright A gold medal winner with Canada at the World Junior Hockey Championship has been traded from the Kingston Frontenacs to the Windsor Spitfires for 2 players and 7 draft picks. The Team Canada captain was selected 4th overall by the Seattle Kraken in last year's NHL draft. This sports update brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. Here's what's in theaters now. Strange World, starring Jake Gyllenhaal, who lends his voice to Searcher Clade, the son of a steadfast explorer. The original action-adventure journeys deep into an uncharted and treacherous land where fantastical creatures await the legendary Clades, a family of explorers whose differences threaten to topple their latest and by far most crucial mission. Strange World in Landmark Cinemas now. We will be going live to Kananaskis and CFL Winter Meetings with the Commissioner of the Canadian Football League, Randy Ambrosie, next. It's the RP Show, and we are live on Game Plus television across all 10 provinces and 31 U.S. states. We're also streaming on YouTube and on the radio, 99.1 WQEE.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right. It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. We have over 100 GMC Sierras available, and they're all priced to move. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models, GM certified pre-owned inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. CapitalGMC.ca.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG. Always delivering the best fan experience.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now back to the studio with Rod.
Yeah, welcome everybody. It is the RP show, and we have the commissioner. We'll have him again. We got messages coming in from all across Western Canada where our strongest viewership is, and we got him now from the CFL Winter Meetings. We'll get to the viewer comments and questions in a moment. The 14th commissioner of the Canadian Football League, Mr. Randy Ambrosie, joining us from Kananaskis. Happy New Year, Randy. Good to see you. How are things out in God's country?
Yeah, Rod. Well, happy New Year to you and all of your viewers and listeners. Great to be with you. Yeah, so far it's been great. We got in yesterday. Last night was informal. We watched a little bit of that rather disappointing college football finale. Wasn't much of a game, and now we're kind of getting ready for the meetings to start, which will start later this afternoon.
I know that I've got you for not a long time, but a good time. I'll hit the main topics here. Number one, what are you guys and gals discussing out there in Kananaskis this week at CFL Winter Meetings?
Well, you know, Rod, one of the things that I'm most proud of over the last couple of years is our ability to, collaborate with our teams and really, bring the energy of all 9 teams and the CFL office together. So really the main theme of the meetings is really to share updates with our presidents, coaches, and GMs to make sure that we're all on the same page, an opportunity to really talk to each other and learn from one another. That's kind of the central theme. We're going to be talking about our marketing strategy, make sure that our coaches and GMs are plugged into that and aware of the plans there going forward. Of course, we're going to talk about the game itself. And to some degree, Rod, we're going to celebrate the success we had in 22. What an amazing season, culminating in one of the great Grey Cup finishes of all time. And then we'll go, talk about 23 and beyond. So I just expect it's going to be a meeting that's going to be big on collaboration and really a chance to talk with one another as we get ready for the 23 season.
It doesn't have anything, I would assume, to do with rules or tweak. Well, God knows you did enough last year with 9 tweaks, right? Like the game on the field seems to be in great shape.
Yeah, Rod, it really is. Look, there's so much to be proud of when we think about 2022. Scoring was up 17%, 2-and-outs were way down. The game just flowed better, and it was fun to watch. I know you're a big fan of ours and big fan of our game. I think we've got the most exciting brand of football in the world. I really do. And we want to build on that. We want to make sure we give our athletes a chance to shine. I think we did that in 22. I don't expect that 23 is going to see that kind of change. We want to consolidate largely around the changes we made and take advantage of these great athletes to play in the Canadian Football League.
But here's one. Speaking of athletes, when you saw Damar Hamlin go down and then the ensuing fallout after, and thank God he walked out of the hospital, as you know, yesterday. At what point did you say, what would we do if that happened in our league? You must have thought about that last week.
Oh, I sure did, Rod. And look, first of all, like everyone else, all of you and your listeners included, we all just were praying for that young man, wanting him to recover and get back on his feet. And, yesterday was a great day for all of us because we saw him, land in Buffalo and now he's going to get, continued care. That was great. But boy, it sure makes you think, one of my first calls was to Greg Dick, our head of football operations. And we just started talking about our process and our procedures. And, we're very pleased with where we are. But Rod, there's always room to improve, and you can learn from these situations. And that's one of the things that Greg and I talked a lot about. What can we take from what we observed and how can we use that to make our processes even better? And that's what we'll do in the days and weeks to come. And we'll talk to the Players Association about that. We've got medical meetings coming up in 2 weeks. But you certainly, the Damar Hamlin situation will leave an indelible imprint on all of us and just remind us that life is fragile and that we need to be prepared to look after our athletes in the event that whenever they need our care and attention.
Well, one thing that I love about your resume is the business side and all that, and you're a good person, but you played in the league, so you understand that, and you've got with a little gray around your temples, some history. Like, has the game evolved and changed from the Tom Pate situation to this? Like, do you think the game back then should have been stopped? Is that how we've evolved as a society, or is there even a parallel between the two situations?
Yeah, I don't know that there's a parallel, Rod, but I think we can all be proud of the improvements that we've made. I think that we're just I just think we're better prepared than we ever have been. I think the game has also improved. You know, one of the things that I think we can all acknowledge is that this game and the way it's played, you know, the training of our athletes is so much better. Their technique is so much better. I think the game is just so much safer. The equipment is better. Everything about the game is better. I would like to think, Rod, and I believe that we're more thoughtful in our approaches. Are we perfect? No. Do we still have things to learn and to improve on? Sure we do. But I just think just generally, we're just in a much better situation than we ever have been in our history, and we will get better going forward.
Well, when you guys first started talking about player safety, and I believe Wally was involved at the time, I didn't understand how you were going to go about it. But you look at this past year, and I was telling the viewers earlier, I watch every game, just like you. When Trevor Harris got pulled from the game by the spotters on that last drive in Montreal, nobody complained, right? And they went on to lose the game. But that, I thought, in the NFL, that doesn't happen. I saw Tua go back in. I was there. That's got to be something that you would have as a feather in your cap that you've accomplished in player safety. And maybe behind the scenes, the Alouettes were really mad. I have no idea. But the players come first in the CFL more than any other league, which is kind of what you guys promised when you went down that road.
Well, you know, we're not perfect, Rod, and there's always areas that we can improve on, and there's more collaboration to be had. We have to continue to build on and work on this relationship with the Players Association. You know, one of the great opportunities that this 7-year CBA has created is it has formed the foundation for a real partnership. And, you know, obviously we're very excited about the revenue growth opportunity and to collaborate with the players on that. But, you know, it goes much, much deeper than that. And it just speaks to an opportunity to learn from experiences and make sure that we're putting our best foot forward. And again, I would be careful to suggest to anybody that we've figured everything out, because there's always something new to learn. Every day brings a new lesson, and you just try to embrace it and make the situation better for those who come next.
Yeah, but I also know you guys want to be leaders in player safety and obviously technology, right? Like video replay was a forerunner in the CFL first, to the degree that it's being used now at every level of football. And lastly, a fun one. It's created a debate here. When Nathan Rourke eventually signs in the NFL, is it a good thing or a bad thing for the Canadian Football League? I'm on record as saying it's good. We want the best for people. There's a lot of people that don't agree. How, as the commissioner of the CFL, would you answer that?
Well, look, I think, Rod, there's a few layers to that question and to my answer. First, I'd say, look, we have been celebrating the fact that this league has seen great players play in our league and go on to great careers in the NFL. I don't think we should have any less appetite to see young Nathan Rourke just succeed to the greatest extent of his abilities, and I'll be cheering for him at every step. Would I love to see Nathan Rourke in a BC Lions uniform this year? You bet I would. But I'm going to be rooting for that young man and for his future. That's to be sure. And then, Rod, the second layer is I don't think we should be surprised that Canadian athletes are looking and being considered for opportunities in the NFL. 25 players played in the NFL. 25 Canadian players played in the NFL this year. The quality of the Canadian talent in our league has never been better. The quality of our athletes has never been better, not just in football. You know, in the world of hockey, we just won a gold medal in the World Juniors, amazing athletes. We saw our soccer team perform at the highest level in the world. And while they didn't get exactly what they wanted this year, they continue to improve and grow. Canadian athletes are world-class, and we shouldn't be surprised when Canadian athletes perform at the highest levels in the world.
Bingo. Randy, thanks for coming on. I know you're a busy guy. Really appreciate it. All the best. We'll see you soon.
And Happy New Year, Rod, to you and all your listeners, and best wishes for a great 2023.
You bet. Thank you, Randy. The 14th Commissioner of the Canadian Football League, Randy Ambrosie, live from CFL Winter Meetings in Kananaskis. By the way, next hour, the head coach of the Montreal Alouettes, Jason Maas, will be joining us from that exact same spot. We'll be right back with a viewer takeover right after this. We are live on Game Plus TV, live streaming on YouTube, and, of course, on the radio, 99.1 WQEE.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. Take advantage of up to $7,000 in discounts on all remaining new 2022 F-150s. And rates are as low as 1.49% OAC. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
Always interesting, our chats with the Commissioner Randy Ambrosie, and I've opened up the text line, 902-518-33. The topics are all over the gamut, like us. I want to say hey to Richie, watching in Lethbridge. Hey, Rich, good to see you. Where do I go from here? I love the fact that Commissioner Randy Ambrosie pointed out, how many times did he say big? Rod, you're a big, big, big fan of ours. He's right. I've always liked Randy. He's a good guy. He's got a tough job. There are NHL questions and comments here regarding the Oilers losing last night 6-3 in LA and Stuart Skinner being pulled. I say that because every time he played in Regina with Swift Current, the fans would chant Skinner. Was there something behind that? Clark, was there like a Simpsons reference or something? I was never a Simpsons fan. It was? Okay. Okay, I'm not a Simpsons fan, so Skinner. So Kirk, Oilers fan, writes in and he says, being a lifelong Oilers fan, I have seen the good and the bad through the years. I have real concerns that the Oilers are not deep enough. This was not addressed in free agency. The players should shoulder the blame for their play and current record, not the coaching staff. But you cannot ignore that the GM, Ken Holland, is doing absolutely nothing to address this gap. It is his responsibility to ice a team that can win and go further than last season. I appreciate the comment because we talk probably more Flames and Jets, the two teams we talk about the most here. Not as much Oilers as I'd like, even though Edmonton's very high in our viewership. It's a similar story to the Flames in that you both got playoff spots. The Oilers now 8th in the West, second wild card. We're at the halfway mark. Still plenty of time to the trade deadline. And remember last year, I think, has Ken Holland not at least earned enough with you people with the signing of Evander Kane last year, firing Dave Tippett, which he didn't want to do, making the moves. They made a lot of moves last year. And I know I'm not going to be the guy to sit here and say chill and just relax, because I get it. They were bad last night. But it was just a bad night. You still have Connor and Leon. And maybe you don't have the depth that you're used to, even as much as last year, but you got more than those teams that are chasing him. I think at the halfway mark now, would you hockey people in Alberta watching right now agree that the rest of the way, if the Oilers could at least beat the teams below them and go 500 against the teams ahead of them, they're going to be fine. You look at the Flames, they're losing to the teams below them. I would be far more worried as a Flames fan than an Oilers fan right now. I swear. You got a goalie that you don't know where his head is in Calgary. Same might be said for Edmonton, but everybody wants the perfect team, and there aren't too many that exist. By the way, the Seattle Kraken, I was reading this morning, are plus 26 in points from last year at this time. The only team better is Boston at like plus 30. Unbelievable. Regarding Nathan Rourke, and is it good or bad for the CFL? The very popular poll question today, if he signs in the NFL. Last minute of play in hour one. Metal Shingle Guy in Regina writes in, there you go. I see it's like 56% now saying that it's good for the CFL if he signs in the NFL. Metal Shingle Guy says it's good. It's a good thing if he signs. Good for him, good for VA, good for the CFL. I agree with all of that. But we'll carry this over into hour two. I saw a guy on Twitter here saying, it's good for the Riders. Yeah, exactly. I said I can smell a hot topic like a fart in a car. Jim watching in Balgony, Sask. Glad you asked. He writes in and says, good day, RP Nation, like a fart in the car. That's why Roddy drives a Jeep. Enjoy the day, all. We'll be back after this brief pause on Game Plus and WQEE.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. Take advantage of up to $7,000 in discounts on all remaining new 2022 F-150s. And rates are as low as 1.49% OAC. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. CapitalFordLincoln.com.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Casino fancy.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
By the way, who didn't see the firing of Cliff Kingsbury coming? That's all that I'll say. They've made Kyler Murray top 5 highest paid quarterbacks in the league. He didn't do spit this year. They didn't have their top guns. DeAndre Hopkins for the first 6 games of the year. J.J. Watt for a lot of it. The general manager, Steve Keim, took a leave of absence. But 2 have fallen now. Lovie Smith and Cliff Kingsbury since the NFL season ended.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
All right, here we go, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. It is hour 2, coming at you live on Game Plus TV, live streaming on YouTube, and on the radio in Metro Atlanta, WQEE, where I'm sure they're still celebrating the big Georgia Bulldogs win in the Natty last night. 65-7, the biggest blowout in CFP championship game history. We're having fun. I told you, let's bring in the Moose from the NHL's Bermuda Triangle. What I tell you, man, the disclaimer, it was going to be an amazing show, and it has been today. The commissioner of the Canadian Football League was with us hour 1. If you're just tuning in, you're going to want to go back and watch that. Maybe you're just listening to hour 2 of the podcast. I'm telling you, Randy Ambrosie had some interesting things to say. And Darren, let me ask you this, because this is a 50-50 proposition here between you and I, maybe even those flying the ship in the sweatpants capital. Where do we go from here? Do we stay on the Nathan Rourke topic? Because that is the thing. The BC Lions quarterback, the Canadian kid that Victoria and Oakville both claim is theirs, is now working out with the New York Giants today. That, I believe, is his 11th NFL team. And our poll question is, if he signs in the NFL, Nathan Rourke, is that a good thing or a bad thing for the CFL? The poll question for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center. I'm sorry to go on a monologue here, Darren, off the start. I am sorry to do that. It's slightly more saying it's good for the CFL. Bill Johnson has written in, he says, I don't get how the CFL losing one of the best players is a good thing. That's just stupid to me. Not going to help anything. Can we at least step outside, take the blinders off where we live, and just say, hey, this is a good thing? For instance, the other day they had a trivia question. I can't really remember. You know, on ESPN in the mornings, Darren, they had the trivia question from Sneaky Hembo. And it was, name one quarterback drafted 200th or later that would lead the NFL in passing, besides Tom Brady. It was Warren Moon. That was the answer. And Rex Ryan goes, I know my CFL history. It's the CFL's Warren Moon. Could be the CFL's Nathan Rourke. It was the CFL's Doug Flutie. It's from a marketing perspective. And for all these reasons, I'm talking myself more and more and more into why it's great for the CFL, for Nathan Rourke to go to the NFL. Have you gone more that way, or have the negative Nancys pushed you the other, Darren? I'd love to know.
No, again, you know, I don't let that stuff influence me and what I think, and I'm pretty, for lack of a better word, stubborn in my thinking and the way I operate. But it's a long-term gain for the CFL. Sure, you know, for the people that are thinking it's bad, they only see 6 inches in front of their face. So in the immediate short term, yes, I get it. It's not great, because you're losing a star. BC was on the rise. You have more parity in the league. That's good, right? And without Nathan Rourke, there's a good chance BC's going to fall off next year. But that doesn't matter. Vernon Adams can save them. I like Vernon Adams. But they may drop off. That would be bad for the league. But long term, it's great, because more players, more high-end players, are going to come to Canada thinking it's a path to the NFL. More Canadians are going to come and potentially come and play in the Canadian Football League, the good ones. So long term, yeah, it's a great thing for the league. So we should root for him to have success, because that's going to tell the next guy, you can come to Canada, have success, go to the NFL, and have more success.
I'm not interested in a back and forth with the people that don't agree with us, because they're going nuts on that. I want to talk about other things. From Common Courtesy, writing from the audience, I like this Common Courtesy person, says, as per Sakaris and Price, it's a show like ours, but out of Vancouver, says Nathan Rourke should have a decision Thursday or Friday. Thank heavens. I think everybody will be ready to have an answer and then move on. And our director of scouting, Craig Smith, who's won 2 Grey Cups, as a personnel guy, writes in, he says, it's tough on the front office when you lose a player like Rourke for the NFL. Great for the player to get an opportunity in the NFL, and it can entice players to come up to our league. He's pointing out both sides of the coin, but as I say, if you have confidence in yourselves as a personnel department, you'll find the next one. And from a CFL perspective, they'll market the next stars. We just haven't had one burn this bright for quite some time. And one more from Kevin the Medium. He says, if Nathan Rourke goes to the NFL, the CFL gets more eyes on it. More eyes mean more viewers. More viewers mean more money. Ding, 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 ding. Tell him what he's won, Bob. How many times have we been watching Eagles games over the years, and now Denver Broncos games, where they bring up Alex Singleton was the most outstanding Canadian, most outstanding defensive player in the CFL. I think people don't understand, any time that you are mentioned on a national television broadcast, it's a big deal. Hiroshi?
Oh, yeah.
But these guys, they don't get it. From Jeff, the Stamps fan, he says, if you don't want to hear from those who disagree, then it's not much of a debate. We've heard your point. We're not going to sit here and feed a fed horse.
I like it.
Go.
Well done.
Yeah. For the PETA people, the animal rights people, we're not going to sit here and feed a fed horse. I'm not going to sit here and argue about it. You have your stance, I have mine. We've heard yours. We're never going to agree. One more from Smitty. He says, exactly, time for personnel guys to work their ass off to get more quality players. And if I can do the addendum on that, and for the marketing people to market the next stars. Nathan Rourke, like, single-handedly brought back BC Lions football in the Lower Mainland. You saw the crowds opening the upper deck for the playoff game. He's kind of done his thing, man. If he wants to go to the NFL, let's let him go. We'll find the next one. Thank you. Stopping for a second and telling you the text line's open, 902-518-3033. Had a squirrel moment for a second, but I pulled it back on track. For a second, I thought that it was tonight. I'm trying to open up my email here from the ageless Brian Munns, the radio voice of the Winnipeg Ice. I thought it was tonight that the Seattle Thunderbirds were at the Kootenay Ice. And, oh, man, can you imagine this? But it's not. It's Wednesday. 6 members of Team Canada will be playing in the game. Do you ever have that issue, Darron, where you go to click on an email, the title comes up, but not the body? Is it just a me thing, or do you have that?
No, once in a while that'll happen, and I don't know if it's just a glitch and you got to close the app and reopen it, or close the email and reopen it, but that will happen. Or sometimes there's 3 dots you got to press at the bottom.
Clark actually forwarded it to me, too. This from the Winnipeg Ice in red. You see the red? This is an emergency message. Can you please give our game Wednesday a few extra mentions? It's the most anticipated game of the season. This Wednesday, the CHL's #1 ranked team, the Seattle Thunderbirds, come to the Ice Cave inside Wayne Fleming Arena to take on the #2 ranked Winnipeg Ice. And somebody wrote in earlier, and I believe said that Winnipeg's now #1. Either way, the top 2 teams in all of junior hockey will meet in Winnipeg in the Ice Cave on Wednesday night. Here it is, newly acquired ice forward Zach Ostapchuk, along with Seattle's Colton Dach, Thomas Milic, Kevin Korchinski, Reed Schaefer, and Nolan Allen. All will be on the ice at one time. Don't miss your opportunity to add an additional ticket complimentary with the purchase of an adult ticket. Winnipeg Ice, you're welcome. This would have been the game of the night tonight in hockey, but it's not. It's Wednesday. So there you go, Munzie. Now do your part and go win.
Yeah.
Now with Shane Wright being traded on Monday night from Kingston to Windsor, could you imagine the member? If we had a Stapchuk and Zellweger and Shane Wright and God knows who, all these guys in the Memorial Cup in Kamloops, I don't think we can handle it.
It's just a shame that Kamloops, Seattle, Winnipeg can't all be in it. You know, we're looking at maybe 2 of them, right? Maybe 2 of those 3 might get in there. And again, Saskatoon would have something to say about that. They're having a pretty good year themselves. Red Deer's good. There are a lot of good teams.
Yeah.
But, man, it's going to be a lot of fun. And when we're familiar with all these names, when they can get to Memorial Cup, that's something. So it'll be fun.
You hockey aficionados help me out with this. Moose might be able to help too. 2013 or 14 Memorial Cup was in Saskatoon.
Yeah, 13.
It was at 13. And who was on it? Nathan McKinnon, Seth Jones, Max Domi, Bo Horvat. It was like this. This might be even better, though.
Was Braden Shen on that Saskatoon team?
Yes, Braden Shen.
Yeah.
That's the one problem that I have with the member. And I don't know whether we're going to be there or not. I want to be there, broadcasting this show every day. I think it would be great. But I hate the fact there's only 1 game a day at the Memorial Cup. And at least Ron Robison, the commissioner of the league, came on and said that at least they've talked about it. But those are really long days when there's only 1 game. You know, we saw at the Centennial Cup 3 a day, and it's just perfect. To the comments, Jason and Red Deer, it's 1:11 Eastern, by the way. Visualize a positive outcome.
Beautiful.
Jason and Red Deer says, Rod, since we're talking a lot of football today, what are your thoughts on the Steelers' CPR sack celebration, given the situation with Damar Hamlin just happening? With all due respect to the players are dumb. You saw the Packers game where the Packers player laid his hands on the official or whatever he did. They're dumb. They weren't thinking. It was not, in my opinion, and I don't know if the players have explained themselves why they did that CPR sack celebration. They're just dumb. They don't think. They're young men. Trust me, I was one. We didn't think.
No, I agree.
What did you think about it?
I agree. It's somewhat of a common sack celebration. So instinct takes over. And no, they weren't thinking about it. And you got to think about this, too. When you're playing in the National Football League this weekend, they're not forgetting about Damar Hamlin, but you can't be out there thinking about it every play and all the time, because if you're thinking about that, then you're going to be playing tentative, and that's when injuries happen. So coaches and stuff will probably tell their teams, let's have our respect, let's do this, but we got to forget about all the external stuff and just go play the game. Go play the game, and, we'll remember all this stuff. We'll do our prayers before, we'll do our prayers after. We're going to make sure we're thinking about them, but not during the game. So in that moment, that was just instinct. That was a celebration. They weren't thinking about it because in the game, when the whistle went, it was football time.
Yeah, very well said. And I wrote about this on my column on the weekend. I'm sure I said it on the air. When you are part of or witness to a traumatic event, or you have a traumatic situation in your life, the sooner you can get back to your normal routine, the better. That's not ignoring the problem, as Darren has said. It's getting your mind off the problem. You would hope that by then you've dealt with it somewhat, got your mind around it, and then get back about your business. And that's coming from a guy who's got certification here in grief, stress, and trauma management. Just one more on the junior hockey. From Common Courtesy says, I wish there was an easy way to watch the CHL in Canada. Is there a streaming service? Indeed, there is. The CHL app has the games, and the Western Hockey League has its own app. And the CHL has one free game a week, by the way. So, yeah. To the Nathan Rourke thing. And, by the way, we'll probably do all viewer takeover the rest of the way. Why not? Jason Maas coming up. Coach of the Montreal Alouettes, live from the CFL Winter Meetings, which, incidentally, I didn't even tell you the stories I was going to tell you. I will tell you those stories coming back at the start of the second segment here, okay? From when I covered this thing in Banff a couple years ago. Well, you've heard them off the air, but I'm going to tell them on the air to the people that have never heard them. It's nothing salacious, by the way. Wilf Gerhardt is watching in Steinbach, Manitoba on Game Plus TV, and he says Nathan Rourke is better off in the CFL. He will most likely not be a starter in the NFL. Any publicity for the CFL is good. Only Nathan can make that decision up. Guys like Damon Allen and Matt Dunnigan and Bo Levi, even Mike Riley, I think, Michael Riley, they had their shot at some point, I believe, and they've reconciled that the CFL was better for them. You may be right, Wilf. It might be better off for Nathan. The point is you got to shoot your shot. And Nathan's going to do that. And I hope he stays and is successful. I want what's best for the kid. I'm sitting here all day going, I want what's best for the kid, and people are acting like I'm the loser. Figure that one out. Kirk in Saskatoon. Nathan Rourke is going to the NFL is a great thing. Gets everyone excited on who is the next one. At the same time, how can you not love Mason Nias and what could possibly happen with the Riders? That's the hometown University of Saskatchewan quarterback who is on the neg list of the Riders, but last I heard he has not signed a contract with them. And from Alan Lee, our former intern, the Asian sensation. He's written in and says, yeah, there's a reference for Skinner to The Simpsons. It comes from Superintendent Chalmers, who always screamed at Skinner when he made a mistake. Psst, missed me. That's like me doing Seinfeld references that Darren doesn't get. It's just the way that it is. We'll be back. Hang on. And Jason Maas coming up 2 segments from now. We're live on Game Plus TV. Live streaming on YouTube, of course, and on the radio, 99.1 WQEE.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Ticket up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902 518 3033.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. Take advantage of up to $7,000 in discounts on all remaining new 2022 F-150s. And rates are as low as 1.49% OAC. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Laid back and kicking it, let's head back to the studio. Here's Rod.
What a show. Holy smokes. Psst. Fire coming out of the screen and the radio. Jason Maas coming up, the head coach of the Montreal Alouettes, an Oregon lad, I believe, originally. Not by way of school, but by state. I'm going to have to go to the big board and look that up. Let's bring in the Moose, Darren Moose DuPont. Great work, by the way, Moose, on the meme that you created with Randy Ambrosie's quote on Nathan Rourke. And oh my God, here's me probably going to get in trouble again and not meaning to. I simply said to the commissioner, is it good or bad for Rourke if he signs in the NFL? And if you wrote the quote down, do you remember what he said?
Yeah, he said, do I wish, and this is going to paraphrase, do I wish Nathan Rourke would be in a BC Lions uniform next year? You bet I do. But I'm going to be rooting for him and his family and that young kid, and that's to be sure. So I think he understands that, we want stars in the Canadian Football League, but we want success for our people. And I think that's a good thing.
Point me saying here, me getting in trouble, is some guy just wrote in to our Instagram. It's already a lightning rod quote from Ambrosie. And the guy, Carter is his name, and he said, how dare he? He's the commissioner of the CFL, and he wants work in the NFL. What's wrong with this guy?
Hot
and my point is, this is where I am too old school in a way. Darren is from the CEO school and new school, I guess, where the leagues now are like, it's too controversial. Let's not talk about it. And I'm sitting there going, let's talk about it. Let's get it all out in the open. Let's hear everybody's opinion. Let's talk about it. I don't know who's right. And by the way, on Jason Maas, I had it backwards. He played at Oregon, but he's from Wisconsin. Okay, so I knew there was an Oregon in there somewhere. I had it back. I said he's from Oregon, but he didn't play at Oregon. There you go. Oh, by the way, I was watching 2020 last night. You wouldn't remember, but a lot of our ardent, longtime CFL fans that are watching would remember a guy by the name of Antonio Armstrong. You might remember that he played for the Miami Dolphins and one other NFL team. But we're sitting there watching 2020, and it was a story about a teen in Houston who was accused of killing his parents. And I'm sitting there, I'm watching the show, and they're like, Antonio Armstrong, Antonio Armstrong, Antonio Armstrong. I'm like, that's ringing a bell. That rings a bell. Antonio can't be the same guy. Keep watching. How many guys could have been named Antonio Armstrong that played pro football? Wikipedia? Yep. Former Winnipeg Blue Bomber and BC Lion. And his son was accused of his murder. And I can't remember at the end how it turned out. That's why I say the son was accused of it. I can't remember if he was convicted of it or not. Antonio Armstrong. He was the player of the year on defense for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in 2001.
Wow.
2020, there's Friday night. Go look it up. Yeah, go look it up. They're enraged in the comments section. I've done my job. So I just want to say this, Moose.
Yeah.
To CFL Winter Meetings, Canadian Football League Winter Meetings are ongoing in Kananaskis, Alberta right now. And to be honest, a very big part of me wishes I was there. A bigger part of me is really happy that I'm in South Florida, where this morning I was on a call with my business manager, Joe, and he heard this guy that I passed on the street go, "Good morning." And Joe's like, "Oh, that was nice of that guy." I said, "Yeah, he's out walking his dog. We're in shorts and sandals here right now." Everybody's in a good mood in South Florida. I'm telling you. And it's a race between you and Joe as to who's going to come here first and visit. But we got room for you. So anyways, 2018, Banff. CFL had their winter meetings, and I was down on my knees begging the CFL governors and Randy Ambrosie. I was still working in the league at the time. Maybe it was 2017. And I'm like, can you please invite the media? Please invite the media. Please. And they had before. It was in Regina a couple years before that, and the media was there. But that was a CFL market. Banff is not. So anyways, they said, yeah, let's do it. So they opened the doors, and Naylor was there, and Mark Steven came out, and I want to say Danny Austin. My funny story about this is, for anybody that's been in the Band Springs Hotel, and you and I walked by it together, did we go in it?
I don't think we went in it, but I've been in the Banff Springs Hotel too.
Okay. So I was somewhat trepidatious whether or not they were even going to let me in to broadcast my show, given past transgressions. But they did. So I'm got the table set up. I'm doing my radio show, and the CFL was great enough to just line up coach after coach after coach, GM after GM after GM, and it was great. But I had a plane to catch. So my radio show wrapped up around 6 p.m. Mountain. I had a plane to catch at 10 o'clock that night. So I'm winding up my gear, as we've done a million times. And Randy Ambrosie walked by, and he goes, "So what are you doing now?" And I said, "I got to go. I got a plane to catch." He goes, "You got to come down to the lounge, man." And I said, "I'd like to, but I'm not really a lounge guy anymore, and I got this plane to catch." He's like, "It was your idea to come. You got to come down here." So I said, okay. So I did. And it was beautiful, man. There's a little chalet-looking bar that's not attached to the hotel, just down a hill. It looked like a Christmas card. Snowflakes, snow globe. This was, again, like January, just like now. Ended up sitting beside Ambrosie. He's a big man. You been around him, by the way?
Oh, yeah. He is huge.
Yeah. Yeah. He might be a little taller than me, and shoot, he got about 70 pounds more, and not bad 70 pounds. He's just big. Yeah. And we had just a great time talking ball. And I met Mark Stevens' lovely wife, the voice of the Stampede. Didn't want to leave. It got to a point where I was like, no, I got to jump in my car and get to the airport. Because God knows they wouldn't want to spring for another hotel night for Rod.
How about that?
So anyways, jumped in the car and drove that Highway number 1, Banff to Calgary, in white-knuckle conditions in a rental car, 2-wheel drive, and almost killed myself.
Oh, no.
Should have stayed.
Glad you survived.
Me too. 2 things from Kevin the Medium. He says, Moose, we can get in my motorhome and do a road trip to Florida. LOL.
If that's a real offer,
drive.
I'm down. I love a good road trip.
Okay. Secondly, Kevin the Medium. I told you today's show would be amazing and a heck of a lot of fun. Kevin says, every time Rod says squirrel, I think of the time Zooming with him and a raccoon tried killing him. That's a true story now. And that was only like a month ago. I was set up just like this, front step. And this is Kevin the Medium. We're having a Zoom call, and he's like, is that a cat over your shoulder? I'm like, oh, probably. Just cats. Wow! It was a raccoon the size of a small bear. I told you this.
He did.
It's wild, man. It's wild. The snakes. There are squirrels all over the place. Raccoon. They live among you.
Mm-hmm.
Traffic will be stopped for an alligator crossing the road. Ken Friedman. I apologize, Ken, where are you watching from? He says, that was a really cool story. I was imagining it in my head. Which part is all true? My stories are all true. And it's funny, Jeff the Stamps fan says, he says, I don't think they'd let me in the Banff Springs Hotel either. Listen, if anybody's watched George and Tammy, which you haven't because you're not, you should. I'm looking at George Jones going, I did so much of that, minus the violence. I was not a violent person. But one time, Banff Springs Hotel in the lounge, I jumped behind the piano, and I had a broken wrist. I had broken my hand practicing with the Regina Pats the day before. I was in a cast. The trainer for the Pats, who's probably watching right now, Greg Mayer, can attest to this. I jumped behind the piano. Alcohol might have been involved, and started playing the piano, singing "Oh Susanna" to the whole lounge, which some were into, some weren't. I think I threw the regular piano guy off the bench so that I could play "Oh Susanna" for everybody. And Ken Friedman says, by the way, watching from Mississauga, Ontario. Thank you. I appreciate that. And Jeff goes on to say that is a rough trip in snowy conditions. It really is between Banff and Calgary. What was I doing? What was I doing? So many times I look back and say, what was I doing? Even now, I get really wigged out in the daytime. You know, we spent 6 months in Alberta last year, and I loved it, which, by the way, I got people texting me today saying they can't wait for us to come back, and I can't wait either. Man, we had a hell of a lot of fun, didn't we, Darren? We're just going to do it all again.
So much fun. Yeah, I know. And those trips to Canmore and to Banff just to go have coffee and hang out and a lot of fun. I mean, I can't wait to get back to that city and back to Alberta in general.
That's so beautiful. And by the way, Kevin the Medium, the day you bailed on me, what's your buddy's name? Phil? Isn't that his name? No, what's the guy's name that came down from Kendersley, the electrician?
Oh, Lauren.
Yeah, you guys bailed on me that morning. That was the day that I met Kevin the Medium. So when you guys bailed and said, yeah, we're not going to come out with you, I wasn't upset. Ended up meeting this guy. He's become a lifelong friend.
The universe took care of you that day.
Absolutely. Always does. Moose, I'll see you back here for overtime. What do you say?
Sounds good. In the break, check our Instagram story. You'll like what you see.
Okay. Sports update. There are 10 games on the NHL schedule tonight with 3 Canadian teams playing on the road. The Pittsburgh Penguins will be aiming to win their second in a row when they host the Vancouver Canucks. The Detroit Red Wings, losers of 3 straight, host the Winnipeg Jets, who have won 5 in a row. How about that? And the Calgary Flames are at the St. Louis Blues. Unbeaten Canada has a day off today at the Under-18 Women's World Hockey Championship in Sweden. But the 2-0 team will be tested Wednesday when it plays the 2-0 USA. I wonder if my buddy Chris Sanford down here, who's 0 for 2 in bets against me, wants to go double or nothing on a third. Toronto Raptors will play the first of 2 home games against the Charlotte Hornets tonight, with the second game on Thursday. Raps 17-23. They're 11th in the NBA's Eastern Conference. The Hornets 11-30. We're going back to those CFL winter meetings in a moment with Jason Maas, the head coach of Les Alouettes. It's the RP Show. By the way, we're carried all across Quebec on Videotron cable, Rogers, and Eastlink, all throughout the Maritimes. On Game Plus, YouTube live streaming, and on the radio, WQEE 99.1 FM.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Casino Fancy.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services, and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. We have over 100 GMC Sierras available, and they're all priced to move. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models, GM certified pre-owned inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. CapitalGMC.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact The Rod Pedersen Show today.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
It is. Hello, everybody. What a day. What a great day. I told you this was going to be a great show today, and it has been. Although Moose did check our Instagram story. What? Because Nathan Rourke wrote us? That part? He is the focus of our poll question today for Capital Automall Universal Collision Center. Is Nathan Rourke signing in the NFL a good or bad thing? Sorry, is Nathan Rourke signing in the NFL a good or bad thing for the CFL? 57% saying it's a good thing for the Canadian Football League if Nathan Rourke signs in the NFL. It's an interesting topic. Just try not to get too heated up, okay? Folks are getting very upset about this. Hey. Well, okay, we got the brand new head coach of the Montreal Alouettes, CFL great Jason Maas from CFL Winter Meetings. And, Coach, I'm going to open that up if you don't mind. You've been around this. You've seen players do it. Is it a good or bad thing for the Canadian Football League when Nathan Rourke signs in the NFL? What's your answer to that?
Well, I mean, I guess it's good and bad. I mean, it shows that the NFL is looking up here for players, and when you have one that plays as well as he did, he goes down and hopefully gets a legit shot, which I'm assuming if he is going down to stick or try for a training camp spot, that he's given a good deal. It's also sad, though, when someone as good as Nathan is and happens to be Canadian played as well as he did, and we don't get to see him for a while, or if ever again. So it's good and bad.
Good answer. You are well-spoken. That's part of the reason why you got another head coach opportunity in Montreal, is you do get along well with the media. And congratulations, by the way, on the posting with the Alouettes. What's life been like since taking over that franchise, Jason?
Thank you, first of all. I mean, it's been hectic a bit. Anytime you're hired a bit late in the process, there's a little anxiety that comes with it. So we're just been grinding since I've been hired. Got to enjoy a little bit of time in Arizona with my family over the holidays. But, now it's in full swing. And just looking forward to getting the staff completed. Still talking and trying to talk to all the players to introduce myself, and then hit the ground running with the staff once we get it set.
Well, I'll tell you what, I got to ask you. Reinbold was on here a couple months ago, who's been a head coach in the CFL. He said the hardest thing of any new head, he was talking about Bob Dice, but he said the hardest thing is getting your staff named, which a lot of people would be surprised by that. What are the challenges with that?
Well, yeah, it is. I mean, first of all, our league is a little unique. So, you look for experience, in my opinion, first, because, with the nuances of the CFL, it's nice to be able to have guys that are familiar with that, whether they're ex-players or ex-coaches. And there's a lot of very good individuals that have coached up here and are qualified for that. And again, being hired a little bit late, some of those good coaches have been hired on other staffs. So those are the unique challenges. But, you just continue to, the guys that I'm familiar with, those are, and guys I've worked with, in the coaching profession, having some familiarity with people, knowing how they work, how they are when you're up, you're down, and all that is important. So, you rely on some of the past experiences and any experiences your coaches that you have hired have had with other people. So you're just trying to narrow things down. And it is a process, but it's a very important one, because you got to have the right people that surround you to make things successful.
Interesting you said that. And again, well said. I mean, I'm in South Florida, immersed in football, people. So we all know there's guys that are dying for those jobs. But as you said, you want somebody that you can trust. And actually, that should, brings about the general manager, Danny Machocha. Everybody knows you guys' relationship going back to 2005. Can you talk about that and your familiarity with the guy that you're going to be working for every day?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it goes back to 2002 when he and I first met down in Arizona at a rookie camp or free agent camp. So, it's been a 20-year journey together, and friendship building. We haven't worked together since 2010. So, I've always kept in touch with Danny, feel very fondly about him. The thing I appreciate about Danny is, you can trust him. his ability to work, I mean, is not equaled. I haven't been around too many people that work harder than Danny. He also has great experiences, you know, starting out in the league as a volunteer, to earning a position coach job, to coordinating, to GM, to all those things, and he's been very successful. Not to mention leaving the CFL and going to Montreal University and winning a Vanier Cup. So I mean, he's well traveled, understands the game, and I can't wait to be in meetings with him and watch players and watch practices and bounce ideas off of them. You know, and again, with that trust factor that he's always going to be looking out for the best interests of the club, but that even if we don't agree, we can always agree to disagree and move on together.
You know, it's interesting. Jason, I could talk to you all day about this. I appreciate the time, by the way. And when I said 05, I meant the Grey Cup. You know what I mean. What a fun
absolutely.
game that was. That doesn't get credit for maybe the greatest Grey Cup game ever as a double overtime. I was there. Whew, that was a heart stopper. But for you, as a coach, what does it mean to come back and coach a team that you played for, which incidentally doesn't happen very often in the Canadian Football League? I'm sure that's been brought up in your interviews. Does that mean a lot to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, the CFL, I'm very fond with the whole CFL, but anytime that you've been a part of an organization, whether it be the 9 weeks I was part of Montreal or not, I still remember it. And it was a great experience. And so anytime you can go back to that franchise and obviously coach for them, I think it's special. And any head coaching job in this league is special. I mean, it does not come around all the time, and particularly your second stop. So I feel very fortunate to have been offered that position and want to do my best to make this a successful run for the Montreal Alouettes organization. But it does mean something to have played for them as well.
Jason Maas, three-time Grey Cup champion, CFL West Division All-Star, and twice the Eskimos' most outstanding player. You had the prior head coaching experience in Edmonton. Are you the same guy now, same coach, or not?
No, I don't think anyone stays the same. I mean, I'd hope I'm not the same guy. I think you learn through trials and tribulations and experiences, and in every year. And whatever position you're coaching. So I've been surrounded the last few years by very good coaches and a great organization in Saskatchewan, and I've learned a lot. And you know, when you take a pause, you know, particularly the COVID year, after you know the tenureship there in Edmonton was gone, you know, there's a lot of time to reflect. So I feel like I've grown. You know, I'm again excited about the opportunity. I love football, so hopefully people will see a new side. But ultimately, I am who I am, and I'll stick true to a lot of those values.
Yeah, well, guess what, Jason? You don't hear this a lot, but I like it. I like the fire, and as many will say, it's a lot easier to rein a guy in than have to poke him to get him going. So I've always liked it. And let me just say this. The most important position is the quarterback, and your guy is a free agent pending. And I'm awfully fond of Trevor Harris. I get the sense that he's leaning towards Montreal, but how's your anxiety level approaching free agency and that position?
Well, I mean, Trevor and I have a long relationship as well. I've known him since he got in the league and feel very fondly of him and the way he plays the game. And more than anything, the guy, he's a solid individual, great leader. I don't know if anybody outworks Trevor. So we would love to have him back in the organization first and foremost. And I understand it's a business first, and he needs to make that decision for he and his family. But we want him back. We feel like he's a great fit for our system. And obviously the way he played last year speaks volumes. So every guy that I've talked to about Trevor that's been on the Alouettes and this organization speaks very highly of him. So, you know, he's going to be welcomed back if he so chooses. So now beyond that, yeah, there is some anxiety if you do not get him, but we'll do our best to replace and move on. And that's what you have to do in any organization.
Well, I know how he feels. So, shouldn't be too hard. You know, good luck getting that going. There's just from some of our viewers real quickly from Andrew Nowacki. He's watching. Jason, Tell Danny I got 1 7 route left in me. It might not be pretty or fast and will likely lead to a major injury, but I saved one last dig route. Best of luck, brother. That's from Andrew. And he brought up that, did you break your nose playing tennis against him or something? That was another story the other day.
It was squash. We were playing a pretty hard-fought game, and I still remember it. We were playing, and he looks back at me, and I'm full of blood and all the way through my shirt, everything, and he looked at me like I was crazy, and I was like, let's just keep playing. I want to go. Let's go. And so, yeah, Andrew is a great teammate. I love the guy, and it doesn't surprise me what he said. So always good to see him or hear from him. I believe
he said that he was leading at the time. That's why you didn't want to call it a game. There's a lot of ballers that are writing in. A couple guys want to know how important it is to sign Gino Lewis.
Extremely important. I think he's as good as anybody in our league. Again, a guy that's played his career right now, all of it in Montreal, and that's something we're trying to build on. Is Montreal's a special place, a special organization. We want guys to stick around there that are like Gino, and I feel like the sky's the limit with him, and feel very strongly about the system we're going to run, how it's going to help him and continue to let his career flourish. And not to mention, if you've started your career there, it'd be nice to win a Grey Cup in the city. And so that's what we're working towards, and it'd be special for someone like him that started it there.
And lastly, Ryan in New York wants to know if Anthony Calvillo, if the plans for him to be returning as assistant coach on the staff.
Yeah, Anthony he's going to return. So very excited about that. I've known Anthony, to be honest with you, longer than anybody else I've known in CFL. So I'm excited to work with him. I feel he's a brilliant guy. He played his career. I mean, the 9 weeks I was around Anthony and watching him play, again, I've never seen anybody prepare to play that I played with like him. And then watching him from the sidelines was spectacular. So just being able to pick his brain in our meeting rooms, watch him relate to our quarterbacks, be able to day in and day out relate to him, I'm excited about that.
He's a very special guy. So are you, Jason. Congrats again. I'll let you get back to work, but thanks for the time today. All the best this season.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it. Thank you.
The head coach of the Montreal Alouettes, Jason Maas. Overtime's next. The Moose will rejoin. We're live on Game Plus TV, live streaming on YouTube, of course, daily. Your favorite podcast platform, and WQEE 99.1 FM.
Have you subscribed to The Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services, and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Easy snacking all around.
something everyone can love.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. We have over 100 GMC Sierras available, and they're all priced to move. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models, GM certified pre-owned inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. CapitalGMC.ca.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
It's overtime, and as we sit here today, right now, Connor Bedard is still a Regina Pat, right? Right? Let's bring in the Moose for overtime. It's proudly brought to you by the Four Seasons Sports Palace, your home for the UFC and the National Football League. What are you smiling at, Moose?
Just poking at people, with Connor Bedard. I like it. I like it.
Well, yes, but I don't think people are ever going to understand me. Thank God you have at least tried to understand me and you get it. This Nathan Rourke stuff has just got people going wild. And I feel like it needs or should be talked about. Why not? And I was sitting there with that interview with Maas going, what a great interview, what a great guy. And man, if it was just a CFL show every day for 2 hours, that would be fantastic for the Canadian Football League and its fans. But it wouldn't do me a whole lot of good trying to get into the NHL All-Star game next month or Super Bowl or stuff like that, right? So it's nice to be able to do all the different things. But
that's right.
Why did people think when I reported that Connor Bedard doesn't want to be traded and therefore he won't be traded? Did they think that I was trying to pull their leg or that I was not telling the truth or that I wouldn't have a pipeline to the family? Like, why did people think that that I might be wrong in this instance?
I guess there's still a possibility, and I always say we live in a different world than we did a year ago. We live in a different world than we did a week ago, Situations change. So, until the deadline passes, there's always going to be a possibility that Connor Bedard could get traded. There's always going to be that possibility. When you're a GM and you start seeing these deals that are being done and you start seeing everything that's coming back the other way, that may or may not change your mind. It may make you go back to the player and say, look, we love you, but look what we can do now. It would really do us a solid if you would let us trade you, I'm not saying those conversations are happening, but I think just the possibilities are why people just won't let it go until the deadline passes.
Okay, and then when it does, are they going to come back here tomorrow and say, I'm sorry, Rod, you were right. I should have listened to you all along. Of course not. Exactly. I didn't even need your answer. They never say sorry. And it reminds me, to be honest, in the recovery business, very rarely does anybody say thanks. And I had to get over that too. You're literally saving lives in this industry. Nobody ever says thanks. They just move on. He's got to get used to it. And for the last 8 years, I've been running around saying sorry to everybody, and nobody else will say it. Anyways, back on point. CFL Talk, Max Ellis writes in and says, he's watching in Toronto. He says, does Trey Ford break out as a starter this year? Well, he had his opportunity last year and he got hurt. Right? This is the Waterloo quarterback, and Edmonton signed their guy now, Cornelius. Yeah. So does he break out? Well, again, he had his chance. So he might get his chance again this year if he's healthy, but he can't get hurt again. He's got to move the ball. I got to say this. Our guy Steven is watching. Greetings, he writes in, and hallucinations from Makoti, North Dakota. And he says, Yellowstone road trip through Noonan, North Dakota, covered by Dateline's Stone Phillips. Number one, Stone Phillips hasn't been on the air for like 20 years. Come on. Can somebody go to the big board and look up Stone Phillips? Do you remember Stone Phillips? It sounds like one half of the band Wilson Phillips. No, Stone Phillips is like dead, I think. He was cool, though. Stone Phillips. Streaming series, what are you watching? We were talking about Mayor of Kingstown earlier. What are you watching for streaming series?
Yeah, watching Tulsa King. Obviously, Yellowstone's on a pause now, right? Mid-season finale happened or whatever they're at. They're in their pause right now. So gonna dive into, was it Mayor of Kingstown? Is that what it's called? I think that's next.
Yes.
Up on the list. That's next on the list for us. So looking forward to it.
Hey, Zig Fricassi's writing me from NFL Radio, guys, and he says, send me some show swag. So does anybody want to hand deliver it to Zig in New York, who incidentally has told me he goes in live? Where is it? He goes in live to the studio in New York for the weekends, and then, whatever, doesn't matter. Last minute of play in the RP show. We got to get him some show swag. Zig Fricassi, New York City, NFL. He wants to wear our stuff. Think about that for a second. Maybe we got to send him a mug, too. And Steven in North Dakota wanted my pick for the whatever bowl game NDSU, SDSU is playing in on Sunday, which incidentally was on ESPN. I would have picked the Herd. NDSU. SDSU is the alma mater of Chris Strevler. South Dakota destroyed the Bison. It was like 47-21, I think. I'm terrible at betting. Terrible. If whatever I pick the opposite. How are you, Moose, at betting?
But I will say we got smoked by Georgia. TCU didn't come close to covering the spread, but the Bulldogs beat the over-under by themselves. So it was a wash for me last night.
Great show, everybody. Way to go, Clark. Thank you, CFL. We'll see you all tomorrow, noon Eastern, right here.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. Spicy. Bob's your uncle. Done deal. Awesome. Hell yes. Hot take. Approved. I like it. Let's go. That's hot. Oh, no. How about that? LFC. Let's go.